I'm down in Salt Lake at the Hunt Expo for my husband's brand. Hopefully she listens to this, sweetest lady come up to me. She was probably in her 60s. She walked right up to the booth and she said to me, she's like, I just want to say thank you for what you do. And I was like, kind of question, because I'm at the Hunt Expo, right? Like, I'm not in my realm. And she's like, no, I follow you on Instagram and I don't think you realize how many lives you're changing, how many people you're helping, how many people are struggling in life or struggling in their relationships or like struggling in building a business, and you're just putting yourself out there and you're sharing your stories and you're educating these people and it's helpful. And please don't listen to these people that are hating on you, or please don't listen to these people that are telling you to like, you know, you're sharing too much or to reel it in. Like, she's like, just be you. We love you for being authentic. We love you for being, I started crying at the freaking booth. Like, so I have moments, you guys, I have times in my life where I'm questioning, am I doing the right thing? Like, this has been the longest uphill battle ever, but it's moments like that that make me realize, yes, there are the smallest voices in the world that may never get to me that are so grateful for what I'm sharing. And if you're somebody who takes the time to hate on someone like me, that's a you problem. And if you are somebody's friend out there that can't support their social media content, can't support their business, you have some major insecurity issues. Hello, welcome back to the Law of Cassidy. I am going to apologize, and I had a couple people bring this up to me, and I was like, I am that jackwagon of a hypocrite. One of my first episodes I talked about, but it wasn't really podcast dynamic, but I talked about icks, and I talked about how on social media, one of my icks was when people made content and then they were like, stay tuned for part 2. And then I turn around and do that shiz to you guys. I'm real sorry, but there is a lot of tea, and can we just have a moment of like realness? I was mapping out because I want to tell you everything, but when you go through something like this, I guess you would call it traumatic unhealthy work dynamic. I forgot some of the stuff that had happened, some of the stuff I was dealing with, because you just are like trying to just bless and release. And with all this stuff coming out with their post, and then me deciding to like start spilling the tea, and then hopefully somebody, you know, sends this to Netflix and we get a like actual like doc going. I don't know, not really, but that might be fun. Yeah, there is a lot. So that's why I part 2'd you. I'm really sorry, guys, but I ran out of time. So I hope you've been waiting on the edge of your seat, because I want to know what I'm going to say in part 2. So we are here with part 2. Things are going to be a little different. I know I have my typical questions in the DMs. We do, you know, the Law of Cassidy and like covet this. I just want to get into the tea. So I hope you guys are okay with it. And we're going to just jump right back into where we left off. So from what I remember, and I re-listened to the episode, I ended on like, things are changing. I'm struggling because the inventory dynamic, because I decided, hey, can you guys ship for me? And it sounded like a great idea as I was building out this whole system, that I think I'm sharing this not to just be like, oh, listen to me, listen to what happened to me, what was me. I think I'm sharing this because I want people to understand that there is like a whole dynamic that you may not realize is happening behind the scenes. So I really was fighting for my colleagues. I was fighting for a dynamic where people would continue to be able to thrive and make money, but I also like sacrificed myself for that. And something I've learned, I saw a reel on Instagram, and it was Kim K, and she was talking about how the universe started serving her more opportunities in life when she chose herself. Like the universe was like, yes, you're on the right path. Here you go. And I think I've definitely been someone who just really pours in and tries to help others, but then you find yourself sacrificing yourself, and then you keep unhealthy dynamic. So let's get into it. Like I said, inventory was an issue. Prime example, this was summer of 2024. So July-ish, I had a reel go viral, and it was a swing one. And the thing that was hard with my dynamic is, you guys have to remember, I had other colleagues, some of you may be listening to this, that had inventory and then you would ship product. I had been in business for at that point, 17 years. And there would be times where I would go and do events and maybe something was out of stock. I would take people's money and then I would ship it later. And I would do that too online. Like it would be like a back order or like a pre-order. Like that is healthy business 101. Prime example, we are down here doing the Hunt Expo for Josh's company. Shout out Deadshot Nutrition. He has 2 new flavors. The flavors are still being manufactured and they're launching in a few weeks. You bet your butt that I have them to try at this massive event and people are actually pre-ordering. It is a thing. Weird, I know. So here I am. 15 million, you guys could correct me if I'm wrong, but 15 million views is a lot of people. And I sold nothing. I sold 0 swings because he didn't have swings. He wouldn't let me turn on a pre-order. He wouldn't let me. So I'm sure my colleagues were getting sales because what was happening is they would do a video and even if they didn't have the swing in stock, they were still selling them and then going to ship them later. That was not an option for me, guys. So if you're someone who used to work with me and you thought I was thriving and I had this viral video, I made no money. You were still able to sell it, but he had control on my back end. So my sales plummeted. Like I was having average $5,000 to $7,000 days. And I need you guys to understand something. Our family dynamic, I make the money. Josh is not currently making money. So I am paying the mortgage. I'm paying the car payments. I'm paying for the groceries. I'm paying the nanny. I'm paying my employees. Josh is on my payroll. Like I am single-handedly, my family's livelihood is based off of me and my content and what I sell online. So to have normal sales of like $5,000 to $7,000 days, and now it's plummeted to $1,500 days, and I have a life to upkeep, and it's not guaranteed money, and my husband's not making money. Yeah, things were getting a little uncomfortable. I would reach out to my previous, I don't know if you call him boss, whatever. And I'd be like, hey, we need to have a conversation. Like this inventory thing's really fucking me because it was. And people would be annoyed. Oh my gosh, this is on back order. That's on back order. I'm like, you girls are still selling shit though. Like you were still bringing in money. I couldn't. Okay. So sales plummeted to like $1,500 days. It's so funny. I was like wanting to do this in the right order and I had to remember stuff. So I went back to text feeds. And I talked about this before. It was like a bad boyfriend situation. He wasn't my boyfriend, but like the amount of ignored text, I'm like, what was I doing? Like, and I was asking logical business questions that were affecting my livelihood, and I was being blatantly freaking ignored. Kid you not, okay? So I sent a text on August 6th, and it said, we need a solution. 20 of my top selling items are sold out on my site, and I've gotten 1 order today, and it was $161.65. The past 2 days, my orders are down 69%. So you guys don't understand. Everything was on back order. I was doing content. I couldn't sell product. Everything was out. I was starting to get reviews on my site that said, can't review anything because I can't buy anything. This is what was going on. And so I know so many people outside looking in just thought, I was, in my boss's back pocket and he was shipping for me and I was thriving. You guys, I was drowning. It was so stressful. I wasn't making money and I just was getting ignored. I was getting brushed to the side. Also in some unhealthy dynamic, they had products that were launched. So we have PR and then he has like this dynamic called Euphoria. And so these other products of this other dynamic were launched and people could order them, but you could only order them on this separate site, like consultants. I couldn't order them and they weren't on my site. And it was like this for months. So I had all these colleagues that were selling these cool new fancy products. He wouldn't let me sell them. No one knows this, but this is a thing. This happened to me. Okay. So everyone's thriving selling these things too. I don't have inventory. I'm losing money. And then new stuff comes out and it's not on my site and I can't sell it. So there's that. I also poured into this dynamic, not only in my connections consultant wise, like colleagues I worked with, but into this boss dynamic. And it's kind of heartbreaking for me to like go through this because I'm like, what was I doing? So I am an ideas person. I am a strategy person. I'm a figure outer. And I poured into him every idea, gave it to him. Every idea, like we should do this, we should do this, we should do this. So I had this like multi-million-dollar idea to work with people that are like OnlyFans type creators dynamic because they would be great influencers with our type of product because they could get their, I don't know what they call them, subscribers to buy their product. And these girls would be stoked to get paid like a 10 or 15% commission. So I came to him and I was like, you really need to try this idea. Even though this man was costing me money, wasn't making me any money, like I couldn't make money, wouldn't let me show all the other products that everyone else was. And then I'm still pouring into him and saying, hey, here's $1 million idea. Guys, I'm also asking the same question. Why was I doing that? I still to this day do not know. Lots of therapy, whatever. But pouring into him to this idea, like flew to Miami, went with him to a show to meet with people. He's like running this in his head, like, oh my gosh, yeah, this is going to be a moneymaker. Let's do this thing. Let's do this thing. I opened an LLC because we were going to be business partners in this dynamic, opened an entire business, paid someone, built a website, and he did absolutely nothing. Blew me off, didn't answer my phone calls, no follow through. I mean, we were working with somebody who owned the shows of the show we went to. I was embarrassed having to communicate with them like, sorry, you're not getting a response. The most like unethical, like shadiest business dynamic. And most of you have no idea this was happening. Mic check 1, 2, literally this was happening. Okay. So this is all going on. I also was like, hey, there's a business. Don't ask why my brain thinks this way. It just freaking does. Okay. It's just always on to. Sometimes I wish I could clone myself. I wish there was like 18 of me because I would just be doing all the things. But girlfriend Haley owns the clinic. And I'm like, something that people deal with when they're dealing with hormones is libido and intimacy. And I'm like, this would be a great idea to have this arousal serum in her clinic. This would be a great idea to have this lubrication in her clinic. So what do? I come up with this entire freaking strategy of almost wholesaling to clinics so they can have our products and recommend them to their clients. So that's another idea that I brought to him and was like, oh, you could do this, whatever. Get my girlfriend to order all this product. Ask me if I got any kickback whatsoever from him. No. But that whole strategy idea, which we will get back to in a minute, my whole purpose of figuring out this dynamic, having him ship for me, helping him build a structure that would hopefully keep many of you employed was I wanted to have a fulfillment dynamic that was better because everyone knows if you are shopping online and you can get some, Amazon's perfect example, you can get something tomorrow, you're more likely to buy it. So the other thing that was served to me to do this was you're going to get this and your shipping is going to go like it's going to be so much faster and people are going to want to order more. You guys, my shipping, I was shipping it faster when I was shipping it. Like it was the slowest shipping it has ever been. Orders would sit there for like 4 days before they would ship. People were like, where's my order? Where's my order? Well, come to realize he was literally just like pushing my shit to the back of the line and like get such a bad dynamic, was not ready to move the volume. I even like was feeding him business ideas of let's create ready to go businesses for people, average people that may not be consultants that can just, we can have a website for them. They can immediately just go into this like dropship mode where they literally have this website and they like talk about products. And then it's just all like, I'm pouring into this man. Okay. Meanwhile, that dynamic of the girl that had the TikTok shop that was making all the money and stealing money there, that was still going on. I found when I was looking at old text messages, I found 6 times in a row in a 2-month span that I brought it to his attention, and he acted dumb every single time. Like, what? Who is this? They can't have a TikTok shop. When in reality, he knew he was just like banking the money. Like, we're good, we're good. She's making me all this money. It was so unethical, you guys. It was bad. There is also something else I found, because I forgot. This was like trauma. I just like let it release. So there were times that my Shopify store, I'd get like notified, like there was like an issue with my domain, and I like didn't think anything of it. And I'd be like, hey, can you fix this? And it just was like this never ending cycle of stuff. So many of you know I had a position to educate you guys on social strategy. And I would take hours mapping out, teaching you skills that I invested thousands of dollars in. And I would give you social hooks. I would give you actual like script ideas. I would give you calendar structure, all of it, right? That was part of my position. Well, we had regionals, which when he shifted away from the team dynamic, he then assigned like regionals. So based on where you lived, you had regionals. And so they were kind of like his people. He would have calls, he would have strategy with them, whatever. But then he started like looping me into calls with this dynamic, and it created this weird animosity with some of them that I like wasn't supposed to be there or something, but I was also training the entire field. So I got put in this weird spot, and what ended up happening is I'm here training, doing my thing. I'm getting a lot of backlash and like yuckiness from a lot of my peers because, you know, people are just miserable, even though someone's like helping you and helping your business. Let's just, you know, be rude to Cassidy. I don't know. And I'm not trying to say woe is me. Everybody picks on me, but if you know, you know. So there was a dynamic that one day I saw a post, and someone is doing a affiliate social seller call training. And it was one of these regionals. That is not her regional job position. That is my job. And I was like, what is this? What is this dynamic? Like, are you going to communicate this to me? And instead of taking ownership, because why would he do such things? He then proceeded to tell me about something he called the Popsicle Theory. So I think this is important for you all to know. I can't believe I'm spilling all this tea, but who's here for the tea? Make sure to share the clips of this podcast, you know, so everyone can just hear the tea. So I remember I called him and I was like, what is this? Because I was like, are you getting rid of my position? Like, what's going on? Why are we undermining my position? And he was like, you know, you get people in your ear all the time as a CEO, and everybody just wants, you know, they all have opinions and they all want something. He's like, and sometimes it's just easier to just plop the popsicle in their mouth so they shut up. And I was like, so you're telling me you just gave her a popsicle and said, yeah, go ahead, run with this, but it's not really legit. And he's like, no, it's not legit. She ran too much. I'll reel it in. So then he literally tells me, which is like so unhealthy. He tells me that he's giving false hope and communication to multiple people by giving them just a popsicle so they'll shut up. He literally told me his strategy as a CEO, and it was to popsicle people. Like, here's your popsicle. Yeah, sure, run with it. But really, like, he didn't want you to do anything, but like, here's your popsicle, make you feel important. So I have this dynamic that I have a job. I'm supposed to train and educate on the whole like creating content, selling online space. But now we have someone who is a regional who has a job, who is now trying to undermine my position versus just worrying about her regional duties. And you're telling me, don't worry about it. It's just a popsicle. Like, she's just overdoing it. But then it's undermining me, and then it's causing confusion. Okay. I had a text message where I was like, hey, I need you to like do something here. Well, at this time, we were getting ready to we had like something called like a board trip, which taught people in the company. So it was like an executive board trip, and we were going to Montana. And I remember showing up feeling very uneasy because I was put in uncomfortable positions. I was building this stuff on the inside that people didn't know. Plus, I kind of was struggling because I thought people thought I was getting like some like hookup dynamic. I was being treated special, but really I was losing money. I didn't have inventory. It was just very unhealthy. So I go to this event and I make a decision because of the undermining dynamic. Remember the popsicle thing he said? He didn't really do anything about it. So I made a decision there that I was going to sit him down and say, listen, I can't be undermined. I can't try and do my job and then someone else is just trying to like do it when they have another job and you're not doing anything about it. I don't think this is going to work. It just is respect 101. Like, why am I investing all this time and energy and why are you paying me if this person's just going to do it and you're going to do nothing about it? You told me it was just a popsicle, but you're not stopping it. So I sat him down and we had this long conversation and I told him to stop paying me. I said, I think I'm going to be done. I can't continue to be in this position where I'm helping people and I'm being treated this poorly. I'm being undermined. People are trying to like do what I'm doing, even though it's not their job. And he was like, no, that's great. He's like, I think I was going to suggest this to you anyways, where, cause he was getting, ultimately what it came down to, this person that was now all of a sudden doing these social seller dynamic things was a regional, and word on the street was money was tight. Clearly now hindsight's 2020 looking at it, like there was no freaking inventory. Like I was struggling. Like he was moving in a direction that I think some of these regional people were worried about their positions and they were getting paid. And so hindsight's 2020, I kind of feel bad for the girl that just was given a popsicle, but I also think she was trying to overcompensate so she would still have her position. So I decide, hey, don't fire one of them. You can just, you don't have to pay me anymore, which I feel like, wow, like I took a knee for some of you, even the one that was trying to overstep and do what I was doing, even though that wasn't her job. I took a knee and said, don't pay me anymore. And he said to me, I think you need to start charging for what you're doing. And I was like, what do you mean? And he's like, no, like everybody's using your, your hooks that you give, your calendar, your content ideas, your scripts, whatever. He's like, I think you need to start charging them like a monthly fee or you charge them for XYZ. I was like, I can do that. He's like, well, yes, you can do that. That's how we're going to promote this. Cause I think the field needs your information and I think they should pay for it. And I think, that's how we're going to feed this to everyone. Like he was like building a plan, a structure where I almost would have like a coaching dynamic, but they had to pay me for it, which this is business 101, guys. Like, do you know how much money I had invested in myself at this point to be able to educate and learn? And that's how I've become who I am, is I invested in myself and my business and paid for things and learned things. And so like that was the whole dynamic and strategy. And I was even like point blank looked to in the eye. I remember we were sitting at a table at a restaurant in Montana. I was leaving early, so I wanted to talk to him that day because I was leaving. I was going to see Taylor Swift with my sister. So he was sitting there talking to me and he was like, yeah, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to tell people that's what we're doing. People can pay you. Like very supportive, this is the direction we're moving. He's like, I'm also going to cut off this like social seller dynamic. I'm going to, tell this regional who's doing a job that's not her job, like you can't do this anymore. Well, hindsight's 2020. Even though he told me the popsicle story, I forget that maybe it didn't apply to me, but he was applying a popsicle. He was just full of shit. So he was like, yeah, this is what you're going to do. So the training happened still, the online social seller training, even though he told me he was going to stop it. So I sent him a text message and I was like, I need you to do something about this because we discussed me offering the training and skills and I would charge for it. Like what's the dynamic here? Well, this ended up being like the demise of me, which I was treated especially even more poorly because in the meeting, because this is what he would do all the time, is he would use my brain, he'd use my ideas, he would want my strategy, but then in front of my peers, he would just like throw me to the wolves and like not protect me. So he would say things that would make people believe I was like some favorite or getting some benefit or something. So in that meeting room, he talked about, oh yeah, and then we're going to elaborate and get into clinics where you can work with, getting your products through these clinics and you could be wholesaling to them. And he was like, Cassidy I just tested this out with Cassidy. And the way he pitched it was like, he picked me. I was the lucky one. And he said, hey, I want you to do this and make the money. Girls, I'm here to tell you, if you were in that meeting room, he threw me to the wolves and you guys were like, oh my gosh, why did she get that opportunity? But I brought that idea to him. And then he got the opportunity because he made the money from the massive order and I got compensated nothing. I don't even know if my girlfriend knows that. I've never told her. It's not the end of the world to me. I'll make more money, whatever. But the problem is now I've got all these peers in the room that are now looking at me like I was given some extra opportunity. Hands are going up. They're like, well, how do I get in on this? And does corporate provide this? And does this, whatever. So then I have to defend myself in these one-on-one conversations to these women and be like, listen, like, no, I brought this to him. I had to do this. So there was a group message with this group. And when I left, they wanted all the info on it, right? They were like, oh, I want some of that business. I want to go to some of these clinics. So they're like, hey, Cass, is there like like some stuff from corporate that they gave you on how to approach these clinics and what to provide or whatever? And I was like, no, I asked and they did nothing. So I just did it. After this discussion with the boss dude, I said, I'm going to be providing services and you guys can pay for it. All right. Anybody who was in that message group, I hope you listen to this and I hope you realize your choices that day, because many of you came after me and were like, this isn't sisterhood. How dare you, blah, 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 because he didn't pitch to you. He told me he was going to tell all of you that this was the structure and he didn't. So then you guys were getting mad at me because everything you've ever known was you were given training, you were given assets, you were, it was freely given to you. Well, he was changing the dynamic and I was going to be providing services that I could charge for. And he told me that. And he also told me he was going to tell you that, but he didn't. So then I was the bad guy again. Hi, welcome to the story of my life. That I was the bad guy again because I said, there's going to be a fee for that. And you all thought I was some like shady ass mofo that wouldn't help somebody out. But I was told to do that. I lost a best friend over that dynamic. Someone I thought was my best friend then proceeded to call me when I was, getting my eyelashes done. And she proceeded to tell me like, how dare you? Who do you think you are? Nobody likes you. Nobody respects you. Why wouldn't you help us? Like we've all poured into you. And I was like, I'm doing what I'm told. It was terrible. I had to remove a friend from my life over this. Everyone thinks I'm just some like snaky snake, but behind the scenes, I've invested thousands of dollars, probably 20, 30 grand into learning all this stuff, all this strategy, then giving it to you freely. While I was being compensated, I wasn't. So then I got told to charge for it. And now I said, you guys have to pay for it. And you all treated me like the worst human alive. But it's because Mr. Popsicle Man was just giving everyone popsicles. And the funny dynamic of all of this is when everything really changed, which we'll get there, there's people now charging you every month for this shit. And you guys don't care. You're paying them. But I was terrible. Noted. I'm just sharing my story at this point, okay? There were dynamics from, this was like October to, actually it was before October, August to when I left in July 2025, money that was supposed to be paid, that checks just didn't show up. Regionals, me, like we didn't get our paychecks. They just said, oh, we messed this up, or it would be 2-3 weeks. Like the writing's on the wall, guys. There's no money. Okay. The ship is sinking. And I'm slowly processing this. And I'm like, what am I doing? I'm now getting attacked by my peers. I gave away a significant income when I've already lost so much income. I'm not selling product, losing income. Stuff isn't shipping, losing income. Step down from a position, but now I can charge for stuff. Here, I need to charge you. No, none of you are paying it. You told me I was a biznitch and told me I was a terrible human. So lost that money. So now I'm like, okay, this is a dynamic that's just not good. And I'm like in these moments of a dynamic of, what am I doing? Maybe I'm bigger than this. Maybe I need to be on my own. I had an opportunity that was going to be, a dynamic that maybe I should just have my own brand. And I'm like weeding through this, still involving him, which is mind-boggling to me. And I think it's just this, and I think a lot of us dealt with this. I think it's just like this trauma bonding thing of, I truly believed this man was fiercely loyal to me for everything I poured into his business, but he did not give a flying fuck, like at all. Zero fucks. Did not care. So year ends 2025. We're rolling into 2025. And if you're wondering, yes, there's still inventory issues. Yes, there's still shipping issues. This is when the shit hit the fan. I woke up one morning, and if you have Shopify, you know this. If you don't, I'll explain. When you have Shopify, you can look and it'll show you like how much you have sold for the day, right? 1,000, 3,000, 5,000. And as orders come in, that number just keeps going up. And I opened my phone, and I had a Shopify for like 2-3 years at this point. My Shopify said like negative $3,800. Like there was a minus sign. And I was like, Shopify, you're broke. Like, what's happening? What do you mean I'm negative $3,800? Like, I'm using their platform. I'm selling things, and they're saying I owe them $3,800. Like, I'm negative $3,800. So I dig and look. And also a structure, which if you haven't figured this out by now, on my website, you can only, with this dynamic, you couldn't order something on my website unless it was in stock. So if you placed an order, it was in stock. Business 101. I know this sounds crazy, but let's not forget, I now know my orders were getting pushed to the back. So I woke up to 78, not kidding, 78. Let me math this, because it said 38 that day, but I had multiple negative days. So 78, let's just times 30. Okay, yeah, 38 was right. Okay, 78 canceled orders. Wait, I have a question. What do you mean the order was canceled? How did they place the order? Because the product was in stock. So what ended up happening, let's not forget, let's go over all the ways I'm losing money, okay? We got TikTok woman over here just stealing orders from everyone because she's just the special one. I don't know. Losing money there. Lost money because I walked away from a position. Lost money because I was told I could charge people. No one wanted to do that, so whatever. And now I wake up and you cancel 78 of my freaking orders. 78 of them. You guys, like, I lost my mortgage payment that day. And when I reached out, it was like, oh yeah, sorry, we're out of stock. You're not fucking out of stock. It was in stock when these 78 people ordered it. And now who looks like the shitty human? I do. They're the back end and I look real shitty. But you know who was able to order their product of the great head that I had sold to customers already? But remember, my orders go to the back of the line. Well, somebody comes in and orders a plethora of great heads. So who gets effed? And I'm sure you could put the pieces together who the plethora of great head orderer was, because she's selling it all on TikTok. I sat in my, like, what is happening? Like, what is happening? Like, I cannot keep my family fed. I cannot make money. I am the person who feeds my family. And I'm literally like, why are we canceling these? Oh, sorry, we don't have the product. That's not an, oh, sorry, we don't have a product. What are you going to do for my customer? Like, what are we do? Zero fucks. Zero fucks. No communication. Oh, sorry, yeah, we don't have it. Like, the customer service disaster they caused, and it wasn't their problem. It apparently is my problem. Mind-boggling. Okay? He kept giving me a runaround. Like, all of it. I'm realizing, okay, I probably need to do my own thing. What is this going to look like? And that's when I decided to start doing Covet. And initially, he was looped in. Don't ask me why. I'm so dumb for that. So he was like, tell me what you're thinking. He was just feeding me garbage. Popsicle, popsicle, popsicle. Okay. So like, I'm going through the motions and he's just like not following through. And I had to make a decision. I remember I was sitting in my sauna. I had to make a decision. Okay, I'm going to do this on my own. So he wasn't following through. And if I didn't reach out to him, I wouldn't hear anything. So I thought to myself, okay, I can't cut off how I'm making a little money right now because I'm losing money, but I am making money and I still have to feed my family. So behind the scenes, I'm still ordering his products, pushing his products, selling his products, even though he had none in freaking stock. Okay. So then I'm now also building a brand behind the scenes. So I go and meet with Simple Manufacturing here in Utah. They're in Draper. They're amazing. And I'm like, okay, this is what I need. This is when I realized, before I went there, I went to like a sex shop and I literally bought like every lube possible because I've only sold the same ones for my entire career. And I was like, is this really the best? And I found out, ladies, friends, it was not the best. There was a lot of shiz in the ingredients of those products. They were not top tier. They were not, hate to be the bearer of bad news, you guys. So then I was able to go and be like, okay, I like this one. I like that one. So I went down to a lab. Yes, I actually formulated my own, okay, with a chemist, invested my own money, thousands and thousands of dollars, okay? And I'm building this thing. I'm doing this thing and I'm funding this thing and I'm sourcing devices. They're only made in China, okay? It is what it is. No one else makes the sex toys, okay? It's just China. So I'm doing my own research, making my own connections, reaching out to all these manufacturers in China. I don't know freaking Chinese. Like, I'm doing the things. I'm sharing this. I'm sharing that. I'm getting samples in. If you're my friend, you know I'm dropping off bags of sex toys on your porch. Literally, like, okay, I need you to try these. Let me know what you think. I'm going through the motions, okay? I'm finding good ones. I'm finding bad ones. I'm like, okay, this will be the one. This will be the one. This will be the one. And I'm still pushing his products, doing my same thing. But behind the scenes, he has no idea this is happening. And asked me at this point, this months had gone by, if he had actually followed through with the 19 things he said he was going to do about helping me build my own brand. No, he'd done nothing. So I'm building this behind the scenes and on a random freaking Tuesday, which, P.S., by the way, I had picked some devices. I'm like, okay, these are going to be the ones. And on a random Tuesday, I was reaching out to the manufacturer. I was like, okay, I need to order this and this Pantone. If you don't know what a Pantone is, let me teach you about building a brand 101. Pantones are like colors in the world of like creating something. So like everything has a Pantone. Like this green was a Pantone, okay? So they're chips and they're really expensive chips. And so I had figured out like this device I want in this Pantone, this device I want in this Pantone, this device I want in this Pantone. And I'm getting ready to place a PO with this manufacturer in China. Their devices were good. They charged good. I got good feedback from people I sent boxes of toys to. These are the few I want to start with. I get a random phone call on a Tuesday from someone who is still a quote unquote regional. And this is someone who I consider a very close friend. And she says to me, are you staying with us or are you going somewhere else? And I was like, I don't understand what you're asking me. Like, she's like, are you going somewhere else? And I was like, no, I'm still selling products. And I'm starting to get uncomfortable because I'm like, oh, am I going to get fired? Like, what's going on here? And I was like, I don't know what she's like, stop lying to me. She's like, and I just need you to know that I am protecting you from being fired. And there is also other stuff. Man, I have so much stuff. That just popped in my head. Like, my job has been threatened of being fired. Like, this is just the most unhealthy gaslighting dynamic ever. I have had this happen multiple times in my career. Like, it's kind of gross. Guys, I should just do episodes and just share tea. Like, there's just so much. I'm just hoping Netflix calls me. I'm not going to go backwards because we're forward now, but there's other things I just didn't even share that I just remembered. Anyway, so she's like, I'm protecting you from being fired. I need you to tell me. And so I just said, listen, like, I gave him every opportunity. He did not follow through, and I will not continue to lose money. My family's losing money. So yes, I am working on my own brand. He is not involved. I am sourcing my own stuff. And she's like, well, he owns all the manufacturers in China. Friends, that's a lie. Okay. That was a lie. It was a lie he told. Okay. It was a lie. And I was like, oh, and she's like, so yeah, you cannot utilize those manufacturers. She's like, he's really upset. I'm going to get back to him. Cause he can't do his dirty work. He has to send someone else to call me. We're that deep of a level. Like, I've just poured millions of dollars of, business ideas to you. I've done whatever. So she's like, I'm going to call him. She's like, I really think you need to hear him out. I really think he could help you because, he owns all the manufacturers. So like, let's scare somebody who's trying to do their own thing so we can hopefully still make money off them is the strategy they took. So then I find myself on a call with him and I'm like, he's like, what are you doing? What do you, and I was like, okay, this is what I need. I've already sourced this. I've sourced that, whatever. And he's like, oh yeah, we can get that. He's like, who's doing your liquids? I was like, I've already formulated them. I've already invested all this money. And he's just like, okay, well, I want to get on the phone with your liquids guy. And I was like, okay. So now I'm thinking he wants to be involved. And I will never forget. I remember in that call, I was like, I really want to make this big, and I guess I have to work with you because you own all the manufacturers, because I believed the lie, because, whatever. And I said, would you be interested in investing? I think this is bigger than we realize. And he was like, oh, no, you don't move enough product. You're not worth investing in. Kid you not. There's a reason we refer to this dynamic as little man because, yeah, okay. Anyway, so I was now going to launch this brand and he had to be involved is what I was told. And I was like, okay, it is what it is. And here we are in the cycle of the unhealthy boyfriend dynamic again, where he's not answering my phone calls. He's not following through. He's not doing, there was even a time so I got my other manufacturer on the phone and it turned into this like egotistical piss match, not from my manufacturer. Shout out to Jaden. He's awesome. This dynamic over here. Okay. Like he's like, okay, well, can you do, I remember he asked the manufacturer, he's like, I need you to do 500 units of this lube. And my manufacturer's like, I don't think that's the best dynamic because I know Cass came to us frustrated because inventory was an issue and she's currently moving 1,200 every 2 months. So I think if we do a run, we do this many. And he was like, no, that's not what it is. Like, just like trying to like pound his chest. And he's like, okay, what if we did this many units? And, shout out to Simple. They're like, I mean, we could do that, but it may cost a little more. And it was just like this like egotistical led conversation where he was like, no, I want to do this much. And I want to provide the liquids. Like, and I want to do this. Like he wanted to get his hands in it, but then I was like, okay, can you get this packaging? Well, I can't get that packaging. Okay, so then we're going to have to use Simple. And it turned into this big, like, spinning in a circle conversation. Then out of nowhere, he's like, you know what? I'm out. You take the liquids. Cass, you do it there. We'll do the devices. Which, I'm sorry, why would you sit on a phone call and talk to someone, ask them logistically how to do all the things, then peace out because you don't have money? And you realized the money it's going to cost to have to do this. So I'm sorry. I understand you want me to push product for you for the rest of your life because for some reason you know that I'm important and I matter, but you treat me like garbage, like I don't matter. And now you've embarrassed me in front of my manufacturing facility, acting like you're going to pound your chest and do this whole dynamic, but then you just peace out. Yeah, because you don't have freaking money. He literally like caused marital issues. Like I was on a phone call with him. Josh got on the call. He was like, listen, you guys don't want to reinvent the wheel. Like, why don't you take this device? He has a device called Double Feature. He's like, why don't you just take the device Double Feature, you color it black and you put it in your box with the Covet name on it. And I'm like, he's like, listen, kid. That's when he called me kid. Listen, kid, I know how this world works and you don't want to light your family's money on fire and you just want to do this. And, if you're only ordering this many, like you don't want to be sitting on this product and da-da. And then I think you should just, I know you formulated an oral gel in a certain flavor, but I think you should just do strawberry. Now looking back, he was just pushing me to push his products because he needs the volume from me. And so he was trying to make me launch a brand and call it Covet, which was my brand, but just push his same shit. Like, and I remember sitting there with my husband and Josh kind of like got caught up in it. And he was like, maybe he's right, like whatever. Cause this man, is going to gaslight us and feel like we don't know what we're doing. And it just hit me. I was like, no, I don't want to do this. I think we should do it on our own. And I reached out to the manufacturer that I was working with, that I got samples from and everything, tried to place a PO. This mofo cock blocked me. They would not let me order the devices that I had sourced, paid for, got the Pantones on, now wanted to order. Even though I kind of involved him for a minute, but then I realized, no, this is not actually in fact, because he's bailed on multiple calls. He's like done a BS circle talking story with my manufacturer. Like, and it just hit me sitting in the car, like when he called me kid and then was like just trying to push me to do his product. I was like, something is not right. Something is off. So I literally reached out to the manufacturer I found sourced in China. I had all the samples for, ready to place a PO, and they would not work with me. Kid you not. So this was the day that I decided I needed to be done. And I reached out to the connection I have now and was able to source product, this stuff that's on my website. And it was like an overnight thing that I just hit a button, removed all of his people out of my Shopify, put in all the new product. I did pay my last invoice. I have receipts if anyone would like to see them. I did owe him money. And so I'm good for my word. And I paid my invoice. It was over $50,000. If you guys would like receipts, let me know. And I still was kind of struggling in this weird dynamic. I felt like my website wasn't producing, like I was losing money. And that's when I found that my domain was still connected to their Microsoft 365. So I had this person that worked in the back end, because remember, they're doing my marketing for me. They were doing all that. So I reached out to this person. I was like, I would like access to my email marketing because it's my customer list. And ignore. I then reached out to the email marketing company, the software company, and I said, I need access to my account. Ignore. I then set up a call, like a actual call to pretend like I was going to like buy their program. So kind of like a let us tell you what we can do call. I did this 4 times. Every single time, 10 minutes before the call, they canceled the call. And they're like, you got to resolve this with so-and-so at my old company. I was ignored. No one would help me. I reached out to peers that worked there, and I was like, this is illegal. Like GoDaddy told me it is illegal for them to have your domain. You own it. And I sent the same text message, look at this, same text message 17 times asking for my domain. I checked when the thing happened online where they made the post and everybody like lost their minds. I checked, it is still attached to their Microsoft 365. That is freaking illegal, you guys. There's so much more attached to it. I don't want to like throw it all out, but when I figured this out, I attached it to a new way of doing it. What does that mean? There could be backlinks involved. There could be emails going out of them pretending to be me. It's so much money. So I was already losing so much money. And then I just realized how much money was actually being taken from me. So when I say I have been through some shiz, I've been through a little. And I didn't really want to like openly share all this with everyone, but when it came out that they made the post on social about, strangers in your house and everyone was like uproar and then everyone else started sharing, I was like, I probably should share some of the tea in my podcast. So here we are, we're in part 2. I'm sharing the tea. There is still so much more, but I'm here to remind you that like your voice matters, your hard work matters, your intentions matter. And I was caught up in probably one of the most unethical dynamics, and I confidently feel like millions of dollars to this fiasco. Meanwhile, while I'm losing this money, I'm grinding it out, trying to build a brand, trying to figure it out, getting cock-blocked by this manufacturer, getting a waste of time call with my old dynamic, trying to like navigate things with my manufacturer over here. Like so much time, so much energy. And that's why when this stuff came out, people were like, why aren't you doing anything about it? Because I'd wasted so much time and energy on this dynamic. I was like, I just need to focus on my brand. So like, I hope Netflix calls me. Somebody send it to the Netflix people, please. There's just a story here. There's so much and there's stories of other people coming out. Like if you guys search the company name on Facebook, you will see it's terrible. I mean, this man is telling people I owe him money. You guys, every month I paid an invoice and he would send me the invoice literally at midnight. It didn't matter if it was a freaking Sunday. If it was the first of the month, I got that. You're telling me if I owe you money, I don't know about it. You haven't said a word to me since the day I left. There was no word. There was nothing. I paid him and he's still nothing. But then you're telling people I owe you money because this is so his cup of tea. I mean, there's so much stuff coming out. Like I was told the yacht was struck by lightning. Some girl posted an entire lawsuit about the yacht being repoed. Like there is so much yucky, you guys. And I just feel like this needs to be shared. I'm just here to tell you, like, keep your head down, keep pushing, keep driving. Like I know in my core what I have built is right. And it's sad that it got in some hands that don't deserve it, because it is. I mean, when I made my post about the post they made, like so many of my customers were like, oh my gosh, I've been placing orders. I thought it was you. You guys, there's so much of it. It's so unethical. It's so unfair. I could get into like, it doesn't matter. I just want you to know that like when you believe in something and you are passionate about it, you are going to have people try and treat you like you don't know, or treat you like you're less than, or like steer you away from the path. Just stay to the path. It is hard. You're going to have people judge you. You're going to have people that question that you know what you're doing, but like believe in yourself. You are smart enough. I have built something massive and I'm building something bigger, and I had to get rid of all this garbage to be on the right path and the right direction. And even recently, some of my closest people I've realized like aren't my people, and that's okay. And all that matters in this world is your nucleus and your core peeps, and just taking care of them and being a good person. Is there an unethical business dynamic? Have I lost so much money? Yes. Is there more stories I could share? Yeah, but I don't want to waste all this time on the podcast talking about it. I just wanted to give you a little skim about it, and it was a part 2. I told you I would finish it. So this being said, I'm going to continue to do this podcast, even though some people in the world may hate it, or my authenticity just makes them uncomfortable. I mean, there's people that think I'm oversharing. Guess what? It's helping people. Like, hate me for it. Like next week, I have an amazing episode with one of my favorite people, Brooke with no legs. And if you're like, what? You'll see. Like, I love to share people's stories. I love to share people's vulnerability. I love to share people's wins. And I think we'd be in a better place in this world if we focused on those things and being open about our traumas and sharing our experiences and, you know, how we are surviving things. So per use in the law of Cassidy way, like, show up for yourself, believe in yourself, choose yourself, and share your story because it matters. And don't feel like you're oversharing or overdoing it. Like, do you know how many people in the world have a podcast? Not a lot. And I've gotten a lot of beef for this, but I've also gotten a lot of love. I'm down in Salt Lake at the Hunt Expo for my husband's brand. I had, hopefully she listens to this, sweetest lady come up to me. She was probably in her 60s. She walked right up to the booth and she said to me, she's like, I just want to say thank you for what you do. And I was like, kind of question, because I'm at the Hunt Expo, right? Like I'm not in my realm. And she's like, no, I follow you on Instagram and I don't think you realize how many lives you're changing, how many people you're helping, how many people are struggling in life or struggling in their relationships or like struggling and building a business, and you're just putting yourself out there and you're sharing your stories and you're educating these people, and it's helpful. And please don't listen to these people that are hating on you, or please don't listen to these people that are telling you to like, you know, you're sharing too much or to reel it in. Like, she's like, just be you. We love you for being authentic. We love you for being, I started crying at the freaking booth. Like, so I have moments, you guys, I have times in my life where I'm questioning, am I doing the right thing? Like, this has been the longest uphill battle ever, but it's moments like that that make me realize, yes, there are the smallest voices in the world that may never get to me that are so grateful for what I'm sharing. And if you're somebody who takes the time to hate on someone like me, that's a you problem. And if you are somebody's friend out there that can't support their social media content, can't support their business, you have some major insecurity issues. And hate me for saying it, but like, it costs you $0 to like a picture. It costs you $0 to share a post. It costs you $0 to follow your friend's business. And there's just been some behavior that I've realized lately, and it's made me take a step back of what matters in my life, who matters in my life, and how I'll show up for others. Because if you are in my nucleus, if you're one of my people, I know you're supporting everything I'm doing. I know you're liking a video, commenting on a video. And I'm not, listen, I produce a lot of content. I am not expecting everyone. It's a lot. But if I'm posting a picture of my family and you claim to be one of my people and you can't even comment or like it, or you can't even follow my husband's business page, here I am being authentic and real again, guys. I know. And I know you think I didn't know. I know. And it was pretty devastating. And I'm here to tell you, you're not a good friend. And I know the people that are in my circle that are my people, and I'm cheering for them in their business and their wins, and I'm cheering for them, and it costs nothing to be a supportive friend. And if you're insecure enough or worried about what people will think, I am who I am. And if you can't fully love all of me for who I am and what I do and what I help people with, you're not my people. Just got on a soapbox, but I'm just here to tell you I'm authentic and I'm real, and it's really sad to watch. It's sad to watch people not support others because it costs $0 freaking dollars. And if you're afraid what other people will think because you're supporting someone in their business, you've got bigger issues and bigger fish to fry. And I pray for you. I pray that one day you figure out your life, because that is a sad life to live. Because guess what? I will shout at the rooftops and support my people, and I don't care what anybody freaking thinks. So, per use in the law of Cassidy, thank you for being here. And next week's episode is going to be awesome. Brooke is amazing, and I cannot wait for you guys to hear her story. As always, keep being awesome. Deuces, I'm out.